A year ago today, I ended things with my 3-year-long situationship. Then I thought it was the end of my world, but ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. So let's talk about it, because I know there are so many girls out there who keep going back to the same guy because they think that that's what they deserve, or that they can't get any better. And trust me, I know what it's like, and I know what it's like, and I know what it's like. Okay, so we're gonna talk about it. Backstory about this guy. We're gonna call him Todd. Oh, fuck, no, we're not gonna call him Todd. We're not gonna call him Todd. We're gonna call him, I know too many men. We're gonna call him Billy, okay? Billy. So, I met Billy my sophomore year of high school, and I instantly had a crush on him. And then we talked a little bit and then stopped talking, and then we talked a little bit and stopped talking all throughout my high school. But my senior year is mainly that. My senior year is when we started, and that's when things got more serious for me, at least. And then yeah, so my senior year, I finally ended it with him a year ago today. And the reason that we ended is because I found out that he went on a 2-man with another girl and kissed her. I made out with her, I think so. And I thought my life was over. I'm not being dramatic. Okay. So right after it happened, I was genuinely such a crash out. I was so angry all the time at the world, at everything. And I let all this anger out at the gym. Typical. I would work out all the time. I would work out excessively. I would burn myself out. I'd walk on the Stairmaster for an hour, do a workout, run 3 miles in the same day. And I'd work out so much that I'd be throwing up. And also around the same time, I wouldn't eat. So I was losing a lot of weight around this time as well. And I never had a diagnosed ED or anything, but I basically did. And I've always kind of suffered with food in that category, but I would say a year ago today is when it was at the lowest I've ever been. And I was very unhealthy. And I was also excessively consuming. And I was just not okay. And I would randomly call him, and I would be screaming, and I would say, why would you do this to me? And I was not mentally stable, okay? I genuinely didn't think that I was enough. And my confidence was at the lowest it's ever been. I didn't know why it wasn't enough, because I really wanted a relationship with him, because he was one of the first guys that I actually liked, and he told me he wasn't ready for a relationship, and then got into a relationship a month later or 2 weeks later. So it was just such a hard time for me, and that's what I would do. I would not eat, I would work out, and I would go crazy on the weekends, and I was just unstable and delusional. And this lasted for quite a while. It lasted for, I'd say, 2 months, maybe a little over, where I was just not okay. I was just so angry. When I think back to that time, or when I hear a song that reminds me of that time, all I can imagine feeling is just the anger. I just want to say that if you're someone who's going through that right now, I feel you. I just have so much empathy for you, because it's not an easy thing. And especially in my situation, I've always felt like every time I've liked a guy, it wasn't serious enough, or my feelings didn't matter because we weren't in a relationship, because I've never had a boyfriend. And I've always just felt like I had to hide what I was feeling or my emotions, and it's always been so hard for me to speak about how I'm feeling, because I'm just the person who's always happy and such a light all the time, and that's how I like being. But I really had to realize that keeping all of that sadness and anger is just not healthy. And during that time, that's basically all I was doing. I was just storing it all away. I remember over Christmas break is when it was one of the worst times. I was smoking a lot, and the whole Christmas break, it's like a blur, seriously, because I was just so like out of my head. And I remember specifically on Christmas Day, I sat on my couch the whole entire day and did nothing, and I was just so depressed. Like I couldn't function, mainly because I was so furious for him moving on, for me still being upset about this, me actually caring for once in my life. I think it was the weekend of Christmas break. I had the first good day in such a long time, and I actually was feeling optimistic about my life for once. And so that night, I ended up going a little way too hard, way too hard, and I completely blacked out. And I woke up in the morning to getting told that I had profusely bawled my eyes out for 2 hours straight because I saw Billy at the party that I was at, and I was screaming in the bathroom for him and like going crazy. And apparently I did talk to him for a while, but I genuinely have no recollection of it. And then after that, I bawled my eyes out for 2 hours straight, and I have videos in my phone.
Yes, it will be okay. I promise. I promise.
I don't know. I was just so sad. And I had gotten to my best friend's house that day too, or that night, and I was throwing stuff around and just absolutely freaking out. And so the next morning, I was dead. Like, literally, I was so dead. And I was so embarrassed. And I remember sitting in my car because my family was supposed to go shopping that day, but I felt like I couldn't even walk. And remember, I wasn't eating at this time. And so I was sitting in the car, and I felt like a skeleton. And I remember laying there. I was thinking, I can't walk. I feel so dead. I feel empty, and I feel soulless. And I knew in that moment that I needed to get better. And so that day, I made the decision to finally change and try to be better from all this, because all the shit that I was doing wasn't working. And so it just so happens that it was around New Year's Eve. So I made a vision board with my mom, and I watched this video. And that's kind of how I got into spirituality and positive mindfulness, was that video that I saw. And yeah, and that sparked my journey of getting better and healing from all of this shit. Okay, so my healing journey. This is where all of this is what made me understand everything. This spark in wanting to change seriously changed my life, and it sparked me fully pouring love into myself and actually knowing myself as a person. So one of the first things that I worked on was my attachment style. I had an avoidant attachment style, an anxious avoidant attachment style, which is usually caused from trauma as a child. And I remember the first time I saw a video talking about the attachment, I was so jaw dropped, because I was like, I do all of these things. Like, I do every single one of these. And so I was dumbfounded. I was like, this can't be me. Like, seriously, I'm this toxic as a person. And so that was one of the first things that I healed in my healing journey. And it also made me realize why probably I kept going back to Billy and accepted that behavior and treatment that I got from him, because when I look back at it now, I could clearly tell if I was me now, he did not give two craps about me, and he only wanted me for one reason. But little delusional me back then just wasn't aware. And so also throughout this healing journey, I learned nervous system regulation, which is so important to me. Breath work and all of those things truly have changed me as a person. Especially, this might sound odd, but with my body dysmorphia and loving my body, because I think I was so stressed and dysregulated. I would get unhealthily bloated, like where I'm like pregnant and it's so uncomfortable. And ever since I started doing breath work and regulating this whole nervous system, I rarely get bloated. I don't think I have gotten bloated like that. So if you're constantly getting bloated, you probably just need to regulate your nervous system, and there's a lot of ways you can do that. And then also, this healing journey sparked self-love and boundaries. I had absolutely no boundaries when it came to men or friendships or anything. And creating boundaries for myself has genuinely been life-changing and protecting my energy and actually choosing me and loving me. I never used to do that. I didn't even know what self-love truly looked like. And ever since I ended things with Billy, I can confidently say that I love myself fully. Like, I'm my favorite person. I love myself. And also how much I've learned to trust myself too. I think loving yourself and trusting yourself correlate so much, because sometimes, especially me, I never used to be able to make decisions for myself, or yet I used to make rash decisions because I used to self-sabotage a lot. And now that I build that trust with my body, I feel so much better. This breakup or whatever sparked my spiritual growth. I've learned so much about energy and how to call your energy back to you, and how to release old energy, how to release old feelings. And if you're curious on how to do that, I could make a video about it, but I recommend watching YouTube videos about it, because people can probably explain it better than I can. Also, just the relationship I've had with the world, in the universe. So why am I glitching? But seriously, it's crazy to me, because I look back and I was so self-absorbed, and I truly think I created such a shitty reality for myself, because I was constantly thinking negative things. And now that I just have a broader awareness of everything around me, and sometimes it can get overwhelming, but I've learned to regulate that. And I just see the world in a whole new way, and I see beauty in every single day, and I see love, and I spread love, and it's just so life-changing. A really big thing that I learned is that we don't have control. We don't have control over what happens, what had happened in the past, our thoughts. We don't have control over a lot of things. And if you're someone like me who used to want to control everything and predict everything and want everything to go a certain way, me having that realization was really hard. But honestly, it's changed my life for the better, because I used to be such a go with the flow person, but now I'm even more of a go with the flow person, because I'm able to accept the fact that we really don't have a lot of control of what's happening around us, and all we can do is find gratitude in the present moment. That's really essentially all we can do. And that's what healing has taught me. So a big part of the transformation, I did change how I look a lot, I'd say. I definitely am just a way more confident person, and I really poured a lot of love to myself, and it shows on the external. but I wish it showed on the internal, because I genuinely feel not like a new person, but like a grown person, like a growing person. And one of the biggest changes is my mindset. And it's so hard to change your mindset. I know I talk about this a lot on my TikTok, but when you're healing, it's not easy, okay? It's really not. It's so rewarding, and it really is beautiful, but it's not an easy process, because you're genuinely retraining your brain and you're rebuilding, what's it called? Like, what are the neuron cords in your brain? You're just creating new stems of thinking in your brain. You're creating new cells. You're flushing out the old. And when you're flushing out the old, it becomes so hard, because your body is seeing if you're going to go back into that cycle or back into that thought process, and you have to fight every single day to be a better person. And that's the thing that healing, a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to healing, is it's such a battle. It really is. And you're going to fall back, and you're going to be down here one day and then up here and then to the side and to the side. It's not a straight line. And that's one of the hard things I've learned about healing, is 1 month you're perfectly fine, you're not thinking about them, and then next month you're going crazy and thinking about them all the time. And it's just part of the process. I ended things with him in November, and I'd say in April is when things were the hardest for me to not stop thinking about him, because I started getting dreams about him and just really thinking about him a lot again. And I was just so angry. I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm doing so good. And I realized it's probably just my body flushing out all of it, like, finally. And I was correct. One thing that healing taught me was how important it is to value your peace. You can't be happy every day, but you can try to create as much peace for yourself. And that's what I've learned. Peace is so important for me, because I never used to have any, and I was so dysfunctional, and I was always just having drama or something happening in my life. And now my life, it's boring sometimes, and I love it. I really do, because I've really learned to appreciate being bored. I really have. I found, I wouldn't say purpose, because I don't know how I feel about purpose anymore with humans. I think we're just on earth to live. I don't think you have something that keeps you going. You definitely have things that make you feel good and things that you love. And that's definitely what healing has brought me, a sense of passion, and so much passion for things that I used to bury deep down, because I was just so scared to be myself. And healing and pouring love into myself has totally brought that for me. So with that being said, I hope if you're in a situationship, or you're going back to the same guy over and over again who is treating you like crap, or only wants you for sex, or all of these terrible things, something that I wish someone had told me when I was going through everything that I was going through, is that you could do anything in the world, so much in the world, but you do not have to prove that you are deserving of anyone. You don't have to go absolutely drained of energy to prove to someone that you're enough for them. Because if they can't see that you're enough, then they're never going to. Okay? There's nothing you can do that's going to change their mind about you. They already see that you're a great person. They already see that you're beautiful. They see that you do all these things for them, and they don't care. They don't. And I wish someone would have told me that. Because if they cared, you would know it. You wouldn't be up all night questioning it. You wouldn't be crying, listening to sad music, thinking about them all the time. You wouldn't be posting on your story for attention, or doing all these things for attention. You would already get it. I know I have been thinking about making this video for a while, so it's been bringing up so much old things for me, and it's just so heebie-jeebie. I just hug my 17-year-old self so much and wish her the best all the time, because she had no hope, okay? She had no hope. But my comments are always open. My DMs on Instagram are always open. My TikTok DMs. Reach out to me if you ever are feeling this way, or you need to talk about something or anything, because I'm always going to be there, okay? I really hope people see this video. I hope it helps at least one person understand that you're always going to be worthy, okay? And I love you guys.